Hello, everybody. In this screencast, we're going to look at this weather app, which is JSON parsing REST API assignment, right? So basically, the first, it's only two screens: cities fragment and forecast fragment. Cities, you hit this URL, and it's a GET request. You get back a list of cities. You display them. You click on one of them here, and then you go to the next screen. The next screen is a two-step process. Each city has a lat long, latitude and longitude. So basically, if we go to Postman, oh, where's my Postman? Let's see. Postman. All right. So basically, I also provided the Postman that shows you the API calls. So here is the cities. You go here, it gets you the list of cities. Here it is. And then basically, each city had a latitude and longitude. And then it's a two-step process. The first process is you use the latitude and longitude as part of the URL to get, and you're interested in getting under properties, there is a forecast URL. This is the URL you're interested in. And then the next step is to call that URL to get you the coordinates, right? So the coordinates, which are, the periods, which gives you the forecast. Okay. So if that's the case, let's go back to the URL that we're working with. So basically, let's go and get the cities. So here is that. We go back to the app that's provided. Run the app. Let's check to see did they add. No, they didn't add the libraries that we need. Okay, so let's add the libraries that are needed. Let's get OK HTTP. So here's OK HTTP. If you look at overview, scroll down a little bit. Here is the library name. OK HTTP. Here it is. I'm going to add it through modules. Control C. Right click. Open module settings. Dependencies. Add a library. Here it is. And press enter. Here's that. Okay. And okay. And I know from the picture here that there is a URL image that we're going to load. So I'm going to get Picasso. Here is Picasso. Where's that? Scroll down a little bit. And similarly, this is the package name. Go back here. Right click. What is the modules here? Module settings. Dependencies. Add library. Here it is. Enter. And okay. And okay. So here it is. The two libraries are added. I know that I need to add the internet permission. So uses permission internet. Here's that. And here we go. So we added the internet permission also. We're good here. So now let's go to the main activity. Let's load the cities fragment. Get support fragment manager dot begin transaction. Begin transaction replace new cities fragments and commit. Now let's run this just for the sake of running it once. Go back, Java, and let's have a look at the layouts. Here's the first layout, which is the cities fragment. It has a list view and the city name. Okay, good. So let's go to the cities fragment. Here it is. We have a model called city, and you're given, it matches everything we need. So basically, if you look at the API call to get cities, that's it. And it gets you a JSON. This is a JSON object because of the curly brackets. Inside it, there is just an array of JSON objects, right? Okay, so in the city, what I'm going to do is these are the parameters that I'm interested in. I just copied the parameters from here, Control C, and back Control V. This is the parameters. There is name, state, let, and long. Okay, good. So now what if I create a constructor that receives public city, and it receives a JSON object. JSON object, and it parses them. Here it is. Basically, get string, get double, let long, exactly matches the names that they have here. We're good to go here. Okay, that's the city. And also, if you notice, it's a array list. So this city needs to return a toString that looks like this. So let's create a toString here. toString by name. Okay. So here it is, name, state, All right, so that's the city. Space maybe between them, name, comma, state. Okay, and this is double. Okay, we're good here. So we have the city set up. Here it is. The city fragment, bye-bye. We don't need these parameters that are being sent in. We don't need the new instance for the city. We don't need, I don't think we even need that to create. Here it is. Now let's create fragment, the binding. Binding, here we are. Similarly here, we'll just use some of the autocomplete features that are provided to us, stuff that is boilerplate. Binding here, on view created. We know that when we click on one of them, we have a public. Let's create the adapter. We don't need to create any adapters. Let's have a private function void get all cities. That makes the API call, right? So basically, what is the URL? It's a get request. This is the URL. Okay. So basically, this is the URL that I'm going to use. And if we go back to the HTTP, if you look at recipes and Java, we need a client. Here is the client. We also need to make a request. It's a get request. Here is that. And here is the request. Let's import this guy and import this guy. Now the URL is this. Import class, enter client dot request. So basically you see client dot, if you look here, client dot new call, right? So client dot new call request in queue new callback. So here we are, and get activity dot run on UI thread new runnable toast. Okay, unable to complete request. Right, so here's this, and then similarly we'll do this here. If response is successful, we'll do something, else it's not successful, right? We'll do this, unable to complete the request. All right, and then here we need to go and parse. So basically, if you look, you get a JSON object, and then inside the JSON object there is a JSON array called cities. All right, so basically let's start this way. So we'll go and do body, so string body equals this, and then JSON object, JSON root, for example, equals, here's that. Now this needs to be surrounded by a try catch rock, here's that. And then basically we have a JSON or array. We call it, for example, the cities JSON array equals JSON root dot get JSON object called cities, right? That's correct. And then a for I to get them, where it is JSON array dot loop until JSON array dot length. Now we need a JSON object, city JSON object, which is JSON array get JSON object at I. We have a city equals new city, and pass it the JSON. Okay, cool. So here's that. Now what I would like to do is to have an array list of cities, all right, that I'm going to use. Array list of cities. Here's that. And then basically coming in here, we'll do mcities.clear, and then here mcities.add city that is just parsed, and we have that. And then basically we get activity run on UI thread new runnable, and then here we need to notify the adapter. Okay, so let's build the adapter here. So get cities, we're gonna call it where on view created. We're gonna call get cities. All right, now let's set up our adapter. So we need an array adapter of city. This is the adapter. Now we get in here, we do adapter equal new array adapter. Okay, we'll use the simple list item 1, pass it cities, get activity, and then binding dot list view dot set adapter to adapter. Right, so basically here we need to notify the adapter that has changed. So basically adapter dot notify data set changed. Notice that I do that, I need to make sure that this is running on a UI thread, right? All right, and I'm calling get cities. I'm going to get cities here. Okay, so now if I run this, here are the cities. Now when you click, I need to send the city to the next screen. So if I look at the city, let's just make sure it is serializable. Yes, it is serializable. Good. So now we need an adapter. Interface cities listener, and then void on selected, on city selected. Good. And then we need on attach. All right, so here we are. So now if we go back here, binding dot list view dot set on item click listener new on item click listener, and we just pass it on the cities. Now what we need to do is to make sure that the activity implements the interface. The activity implements the interface, and import and implement class, and then implement the interface. Implement the methods, here it is, and we are good to go. So now when we run it, here it is. Now we can also go back here, and in the cities fragment, let's say we set up a breakpoint. Let's say we put a breakpoint here, and let's run it in debug mode. Let's look at the cities array list just to make sure we're getting what we're expecting. Here it is, perfect. Let long name and state, perfect. So things are working. Okay, remove the breakpoint. Good, so we are able to do that. Now we click, you go to the next screen, which is the weather forecast. So the weather forecast is going to receive a city object. So let's set up that. So param1, let's call it, this is city. All right, here it is. This is parameter number 1. Okay, and here we are, and it's going to be a city, mcity, and basically that's what you're going to be sending into the parameters. Okay, so basically you're going to be sending a city. Okay, and now basically we'll do org city, and then put serializable. Okay, this is it. And then basically here we go in and say mcity equal to that, get serializable with org city. So we got the city here, and let's say we cast it here, and we're good to go. Now let's set up our binding. Okay, we're good here, and we'll do the same thing here. There's binding, and similarly on view created, and we're good to go. All right, so that's good here, right? Now we just need to display the name of the city at the top. Okay, so basically binding dot text view city name dot set text to mcity dot get name. And here we are, get state, here we are. So basically we are able to get the city. Now if we run it, it's not going to work. In the main activity we need to set up this call here. So get support fragment manager, import this guy, new instance, pass it, add to backstack, and we are good to go. So now if we run this, Here it is. You click on Boston, you're in Boston, and so on. You can go back. Here's back, Chicago, and so on. So it's straightforward, nothing much here, just some kind of navigation. We're here. Okay, good. So now what we want to do is to follow these steps. So basically, we need to create a URL that looks like this, right? So basically, here's the URL, and that URL goes in and should get the this is the lat long, right? And should it will we need to call that URL, and that's a get request. Okay, good. So let's do that. So now do this. Okay, I will do, for example, void private void get step 1, right? All right, so let's get step 1, and then this is our URL. Okay, here it is, and this is the URL. Okay, and then basically it is the mcity get latitude, get long, right? And there's a comma between them, and we just remove that stuff from here, and here it is. That's the URL, and it's a get request. So basically, I'm going to the cities fragment, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this part. Here it is. This is our client. Go back here, and I'm going to create a request. Here's the request, and here it is. And now I'm going to use the URL that we created here. This is the URL, and then client dot new call request dot enqueue new callback. All right, so here we are, and we can do e dot print stack trace just for the sake of testing here. And I'm not handling all the errors, but then here if response is successful, something like that, else, all right, log or get activity dot run UI thread new runnable, and I'm gonna say create a toast get activity unable to get forecast. All right, here it is. We have that. Now let's run this and see what happens. So get step 1. Here's step 1. Here's that. Here's step 1, and let's run step 1 and see what happens. Okay, get step 1. Here it is. And when everything is good, we can log.d the body. Okay, log.d the body. And we go here, demo. Okay, we run it and see. Let's click Boston here. We go back here, and let's look at the lockat. Okay, there's that. Here we are, demo, and here is the lockat. So basically, we're getting the response. Now let's look at that response and see what we're interested in. So if we look here, they are saying in the document, when you make the call, what you're looking for is not all of that stuff. We're looking for properties. So basically the JSON object. Then there is a properties, which is also a JSON object. And then under it, there is a forecast. All right, so let's go in and get the first JSON object. So basically, here's that. We have a JSON object and call it root JSON object equals new JSON object with the body. Right, so here's that. Needs a try catch block. So here is that. Needs to be surrounded by a try catch block. Here is that. Okay, so we have the JSON thing here. Now I need properties. Right, here it is, and that properties is a JSON object. So basically, JSON object. Okay, again JSON object properties. Here's that. And now after you have properties, under the properties there is a, if you look here, under properties, there's a string called forecast, right? The attribute. Okay, so we have a string forecast URL, which is called forecast. All right, perfect. So we have that. So we have the forecast URL. Now what we need to do is to trigger another call. All right, step 2. So and look at step 2 is you take that URL, make a request with it, which is also a get request. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy step 1. And I'm going to call it step 2, right? And then there is a string here, URL. Or that's the URL that you're going to be passing on, right? So I'm going to delete this. Go back here, and then basically all I'm going to do is go to we need step get step 2 with forecast URL, right? So basically after you have this forecast URL, you just trigger the next step. Okay, good. So that's this one. Now step 2, we are doing all of this. I'm going to delete this stuff here and see if I'm getting it to show. Now also in step 2, let me just remove the logging. I don't need this logging now, right? I only have logging in step 2. Okay, URL, and I'm just printing out things here. Let's delete this try catch block and let's run and see. Okay, so we scan here, run it. Pick Boston, here we are, and we're getting the forecast. You see, this is all the forecast, wind speed, forecast. Okay, good. So basically we are getting the forecast. Now what I'm interested in the forecast is not the geometry. Here's the forecast. Let's run this. I'm interested in okay, so you are interested in, if you run this, we are interested in the properties, and under properties there is a periods that we're interested in, which is the forecast object, right? So basically I'll copy one of them so that it's going to help us when we are writing the code for the forecast object. So we go back here, I'll copy this code from here. And let's go and look at the forecast object. What do they have inside it? CT4 fragment. No, in the model there is a forecast, and here is the forecast object. I just copied it. Okay, and here we are. Here is that. And then let me look at the document and see what we're interested in. We're interested in the date and time, the temperature, the precipitation, the wind speed, and some kind of a description. All right. So basically I don't interested in the number here. Name is this afternoon. I'm not interested in that also. There's a start time, there is an end time, and I don't know what this is, so I'm going to remove it. I need the temperature unit. I don't need the temperature trend, the probability of precipitation, and it seems there is null sometimes. Okay. So okay, we'll find out what it means. So basically maybe probability of precipitation, if it's null, this means there is no precipitation going to happen. So let's have a look again and see. Sometimes there is a value, sometimes it's null, so we have to take care of that also. Okay, good. Now the wind speed, wind direction. So let's have a look. Do we need the wind direction? This is just the wind speed. Okay, so that's only the wind speed that we're interested in. This is the icon. Short forecast. So this is the short forecast. All right, so it's sunny, short forecast. Okay, good. We don't need the detailed forecast. Okay, that's it. Start time. So we need the start time, not the end time. So here's the start time and the probability of precipitation. Okay, the wind speed and the icon. Okay, good. So basically I have some of the string values. Is the start time, and let's do something like this. So we need the temperature unit is Fahrenheit, so I'm not going to worry about that. I can get a double temperature value, so that's temperature. So here's that, and I don't need it here. This is the temperature. The probability of precipitation. So what's the value here? The probability of precipitation, if there is a value, is going to be a percentage. Okay, so the probability of precipitation, oh man, it's always coming back as null. That's weird. Maybe that's because of this. Okay, probability of precipitation, it's coming back as a number. Okay, good. So basically sometimes it will come back as a number like this, for example. You know, it's a number. Okay, good. So now this is the probability of precipitation. So we can go here and say that this is the probability of precipitation. Probability of precipitation. Something like that, right? Is that, so we can do this. Wind speed, we don't need this one here. And we don't need this one. We have the start time, the wind speed, the icon, short forecast. Okay, good. So now let's create an empty constructor. Constructors, select none. Oops. Public forecast. I'm going to send you a JSON object, and we're good to go. And now let's just tab and see, but that's not exactly what I need. We have the start time, it's correct here, JSON object. We have the temperature, fine. The probability of precipitation, JSON object dot get JSON object, probability of precipitation, get double with the value, right? Because you see here, I'm here, and then under it you get the value. Okay, good. And then wind speed, get string, good. And then the icon, here's the icon. And then the short forecast, we have the short forecast. So we're good, right? So I think we might be lucky here. Let's see. Getter and setter for all of them. And we have the forecast. Okay, good. So we have the forecast object. We have the forecast fragment. Let's have a look at the layout just to make sure what do we have here. Weather forecast. Oh, it's a list view. It's a recycler view. Okay, perfect. So it's a recycler view. I also give you the list to display the list row item, right? The forecast list item. Okay, good. So now that's what we have next is straightforward. So we know that we need to get a JSON object, and we call it the root JSON object, new JSON object, pass it the body, and it parses it. Needs to be in a try catch block, surrounded by try catch. And then after you have the JSON object, all right, so after you are here, then we need to get properties, which is also another JSON object. Okay, here is that. And then basically from properties, we also need to go in and get a JSON array of periods. You see here, JSON array of periods. Right, so basically a JSON array of periods, you see here. And then basically let's have an array list here of forecast. Forecasts. All right, so here's that. And then we know that what we need to do is to loop for I. Okay, and then this is periods.a, periods.length, JSON object. Okay, good. So periods.get as item, and we'll do forecast equal to new forecast, and you pass it the period, right? We'll call it forecast JSON, and basically that's what we're going to be passing here. And then basically we do forecasts dot add forecast. All right, good here. Now we need the adapter and so on. So that's all done, taken care of and done. Now what we need to do is now create the adapter for the recycler view. Class forecast adapter extends the recycler view dot adapter, and we need some view holder. All right, do class forecast view holder, copy that from here to here, and we need to import some things and implement some methods. All right, here we go. Import class, here we go. Implement methods, here they are. All right, good. This one is going to be forecasts dot size, dot size, yes. Okay, and we're going to change get item list item binding equal to that, and that's what I'm going to change my view holder to have that information. Here it is. Semicolon, and it will be item binding dot get root item binding. You're good here. Return the new forecast view holder with item binding. Perfect. So we have that on bind. So basically we'll do a public void bind, I'm going to send you a forecast objects, forecast, and we're going to set it up. All right, so basically here we just do bind, and now we just load something. So basically we'll go in and set up something. So item binding dot image view, we need Picasso to load that, so we can check to see if forecast dot get icon is not equal to null. Actually, we can do that check, but I'm not going to do it in checks. Just I'm going to display things just to show you. Item binding dot image view. Okay, good. So now I'm going to use Picasso to load the image, right? So basically, here is Picasso. It's one line. Scroll all the way up. It's one line. It's written at the top here. Picasso.get. Okay, here is that. Picasso.get, and the image view is item binding dot image view. The URL is forecast.icon get icon. Okay, so before I do all of that stuff, we need just to test to make sure are we getting stuff right. So here is the name, basically set forecast. So if we look here, where is the layout? Is that, what is this? This is date and time, which is the start date, I think. So basically here, text view, date time, get start time. All right, so if we run this, if we run it, nothing's going to happen because we never wired the adapter. So let's go wire that adapter. So here it is, adapter. Go set up the adapter. Adapter equals new forecast adapter. Binding dot recycler view dot set layout manager, new linear layout manager. Okay, we're good here. And then binding dot recycler view dot set adapter to adapter. All right, we're good here. Now when we get the data the next time, we need to notify the adapter after everything is said and done. Get activity dot run on UI thread new runnable, notify data has changed. All right, so let's run this and see. Okay, Charlotte, we're here, we're getting some data. The images are appearing, but it seems some of them are taking a little bit of time to show up, but at least we're getting some of them to appear. Some of them are not appearing for some reason, but we can look and see. Scroll down a little bit. Let's remove this. And some of them are null values. Null value cannot be resolved, converted to double. Okay, good. So we need to play a little bit of a game here. So if we go back to the forecast, and that's mainly for which value? So let's see. And that's mainly for type match set double, this one. All right, good. Okay, so if we look at forecast, it's this one. Okay, good. So what we could do is we can check to see if it's can check that. Here it is. And we do this is not equal to null, right? Why is it not happy? What we could do is we can change this value to be double here. So what I can do is, let's say, what if we do it like this? Oh, it's not get double. So get OPT. Optional. So that's the optional double. All right. All right. So we can do also fallback. Excellent. To 0, something like that. So that's even better. So that falls back. Okay, here we are. And here we are. What about this case? Will it be happy if we did this? Go back here. Let's clear that log. Click on Boston. Things are coming back. All right. Now, if we go back, let's look at Charlotte again. And we're getting all the pictures because everything is being parsed correctly. When it crashes, it doesn't parse. Okay, good. Here it is. Now we got these. Now we can just show the other ones and we're good to go. Right. So basically, let's go back and show the remaining ones. Here it is. Okay, we close this. We close that. Double click here. And let's have a look at the adapter. Here it is. What else do we have? Item binding dot text view forecast dot set text to something just for us. Item binding text view date and time humidity dot set text to something here. Item binding dot text view wind speed dot set text to something. Item binding dot temperature dot set text to something. So here we are, we have these. Now what we need to do is just load them. So temperature dot plus F. So that's temperature plus F. So basically it's first get temperature and we're good to go. That's the temperature done. Now percentage precipitation, we want to just say precipitation, percentage wind speed. Okay, so precipitation, which is probably the humidity part. Okay, so we'll do precipitation. Okay, get probability of precipitation. And now what is that? The forecast is the short forecast. Forecast dot get short forecast. We're then done with that. And then wind speed. All right, so that's wind speed. I think it already comes with miles per second, per hour. So I don't think we need to do that here. Okay, and let's run this and see. Charlotte, yeah, we have all of the information. Yeah, it works. Seems to be working. Go back. Chicago, and here we are. All right. So we're able to parse. It's very straightforward. Just had to set up the adapter, make two calls. Step one to get the URL. After it's done, we go to step two, and we're good to go. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.